What's up, guys? So I got first place in another OTS championship, this time with Pure Snake Eye. So yeah, I've moved off Rescue Ace. Rescue Ace still is my favourite deck, but unfortunately it's not the best deck of the format and I want the best chance to win. My list is not that unique from most people's Pure Snake Eye list. The only difference is Shumpingju did a really good video with some interesting texts and guides, and I followed a lot of his texts. So that's kind of the only real variation I have. I would say as well, like I was missing a lot of cards from my deck, so there's some janky ratios some places where I just couldn't find a card and I just slipped in whatever worked. But yeah, deck is really good. Snake Eye's really unfair. So yeah, standard Snake Eye ratios, Ash, Poplar, Birch and Oak, they're all really good. I really like Birch. I think in Pure you need the extra extender, it does come up. And the effect to bring out a Snake Eye on your opponent's turn is actually sometimes relevant, because sometimes your opponent will like out your Flamberge from your spell and trap zone or whatever when you put both Flamberge and IP in the zone, and this lets you get another one from deck. So I do really like Birch. It does come up a bit, it's a good card. I was playing 2 Witch. I wanted to play 3, I don't have 3, but I've lent one of my Witches out, which is why you're only seeing 1. But I did play 2, I would have played 3 if I had 3. Card is really good. 2 Flamberge, because you need it, otherwise if you draw it, it's harder to play through Nib, because your combo lines have to change a bit and then you have to make a crap board, so you do need that second to be in the deck, to drag out of the deck. Well, it doesn't necessarily need to be in the deck, but it needs to be in the hand. You need, if you open 2 Flamberge, it's not good. But the point is, you need to play 2, otherwise you'll lose to Nib, and also because people prioritize getting rid of this card. And then this is from Shumpingju. I played Exceed. Exceed is really good because it essentially means that any card that's not Poplar turns into Snake Eye Ash, or any hand trap anyway can turn into Snake Eye Ash. And so the idea being that you normal summon it, they stop it, and this applies to Ash as well. You normal summon it, they stop it, you're like, cool. You're going to link 1, Exceed summons, and then searches Poplar, and so it's basically as if your Snake Eye Ash resolved, but you get 2 free extenders on top of it, which is really nice. So yeah, this card is insane, and then when your combo does go through, this just adds a bit of extra cap to the board. The card is really good, and I think in this hand trap spam format where you're playing like so many hand traps in the main, I think this card is really good because it means that your hand traps become starters as well. It was a similar principle to what you used to do in Mathmech. The only difference is in Mathmech you played Amaraj as well. But I do think Exceed is a really, really good choice. I think as well you can make Dweller and Baguska and stuff of it as well, which is pretty cool. Like I do think that is relevant actually, like just playing Baguska, but sorry, not Baguska, playing Dweller. But yeah, really good card, I liked it. Then for the spells, the original, Bonfires, Haunted, Temple. Yeah, nothing different about these. All of these spells are absolutely ridiculous. And like, it's a big part of what makes this deck so unfair. It's just that it's got so many like spells that just trade like and plush you so many cards. It's just hard for your opponent to ever get ahead. So then, 1 Phone Call by 2 Talents. The only reason it's 2 Talents is because I was trying to stay as close to 40 as possible. But yeah, the card is really unfair. Then the hand traps. So my hand trap strategy, again, my hand traps are not like super unique, but I had a specific idea behind my hand traps. So the only 2 things I was scared of is I was scared of my opponent making Appaloosa, and I was scared of the Princess Engrave Pop. Appaloosa is just hard to play through. If your opponent makes Appaloosa, like you have to trade with power spells into it essentially a lot of time, which is not great. And then if there's the Princess Pop in the Grave essentially turns off some cards. Like it makes cards like, it makes the second effect of Ash and second effect of Osh to drag Flamberge out of deck. It makes stuff like that hard to trigger, and it makes it punishing to link summon, because you link summon then they just pop it, and now you've lost 2 cards at the price of 1. And so my hand traps were based purely around stopping those 2 things from happening. So I played Nib, Imperm, Veiler, just because these hand traps pair best with Nib. I really don't like Moonlit Chill because it doesn't work that well on your turn, and also because it's just more copies of Veiler and Imperm, but I don't think you need that many extra copies. Because what makes Imperm and Veiler good is not Imperm and Veiler, it's drawing it with Nib. So after a certain point, you're just over-indexing on hand traps that don't do anything. So I don't think Moonlit's actually bad, I just don't think it was that worth it. Played DD Crow because, again, I really wanted to stop Appaloosa, I really wanted to stop Princess Pop, I want to stop Original as well. And this accomplished all of that, and it combos with Nib, because you can DD Crow the IP, you can DD Crow Princess, you can DD Crow Original. I mean, it's just so good. And then also this is good in other matchups like Silent Force. I played 2 Silent Force and it was really easy with both of them because I was just drawing, so I put loads of Bestials on the side as well, so I had so many cards against them. And then Ash, So that MBT video about Murder Your Darlings, I actually fundamentally disagree. I agree with his principle in the video, but I disagree with his notion on Ashe. I think this format, everyone that's saying don't play Ashe is just wrong. Just play Ashe, because there's no card that does as much as this card in every situation. Like, yes, it is mediocre in most situations, but if you look at every other hand trap, most of them are mediocre in every situation too. And in certain matchups, this is a FTK, this is a FTK, or not FTK, but it's very, very good into the branded matchup. It's very, very good into the lab matchup. It's very, very good into Snake Eye sometimes, on original, on the Ashe effect from field. So yeah, you have to play Ashe Blossom, and I can't see a reason why you would never play Ashe Blossom. And talents as well, again, this is for dealing with Appaloosa. So yeah, main deck was 41. Again, it wanted to be 40, but I was missing the third witch, so I had to add in 1 or 2 cards to change some things up. Then the extra deck is, again, it's just a standard Snake Eye extra deck. There's really nothing special. I wanted to do the Borrowland Zelantis thing, but not Zelantis, Borrowland Pentastag thing that Shumping was showing, but unfortunately I didn't get Borrowland in time, so I just added an extra Heat Soul and Princess. But yeah, the only kind of slightly different thing again is Infernal Flame, and again, this is the Shumping. I really would recommend you guys subscribe to his channel, watch his video, because the amount of like just cool combos and stuff and like text that he talks about is insane. But yeah, use this as part of your combo. And so this essentially means that any one hand trap can turn into Appaloosa plus SP on board, which is plus SP in the Spell and Trap Zone and Flamberge on board, which is really, really good. And I do think like having access to that was quite great. Then in my side deck, nothing too funky. 3 Cyclone, because you need Cyclone, you'll lose to Floodgates. I played 4 Bystials because I had 3 DD Crow in the main and then 4 Bystials on the side. I mean, it was Silent Force was just such a free matchup because I just had so much stuff to deal with. Then they're the only deck that has a chance against this. The 1 Kurakara, I played this again for Silent Force because you can search it, and I realized that what makes the Silent Force matchup so free for this deck is if you go first, they should never be able to crack through your board. But even if they like sack hand traps and stuff, you just search this turn 1, and then it means that they have to play really wheelie and they get punished. So this card is amazing. Then only 2 Droll. Like I said, I actually don't like Droll. I think it's a good card, but my problem with Droll is it doesn't combo as well with the other hand traps. And Pure Snake Eye, which there's a lot of that at my locals, plays through this really easily, in my opinion. Like, it's not a huge issue. Like, when I get Drolled, I don't care a lot of the time. And then Silent Force, only certain hands lose to this card. I'd rather side in Bystials than this because they do something long term. I don't want to hand loop myself. And then there's other decks in the format that just don't care about Troll. So it's not a bad card, but that's why I'm only playing 2. It did go in like post side, but game 1 I don't want it in my deck. Then I couldn't find my Eclipses, so that's why I had 4 Bystials. It would have been 3, but I couldn't find my Eclipse, so I played 1 Raigeki and 1 Eclipse. The idea behind this was basically to deal with cash. And then I realized that this is actually good against Silent Force as well. It forces the negate because Eclipse is nice. Not Raigeki so much, but Eclipse is nice against Silent Force because you don't put low in the grave, so it's harder for them to get low back out. And then use this means that they have to immediately negate, or they just lose the negate on the board. It loses the effects of the trap as well because they won't control any Light Warrior or Dragon Ritual. So I actually do like Eclipse, and I think I'm going to start playing it in the side for the Cash and Silent Force matchups as well. And then 3 Strike. Yeah, I don't think Summon Limit's bad. I think it's good, but I just think Strike does more against more decks, and then it has a little bit more versatility where if I've set Strike, you kind of semi-crack my board, but I don't use my Strike. It can be a Call by the Grave then as well. Another thing I like about it is that I don't have to out it. One issue with Summon Limit, and this applies to anti-spell as well, is that you do have to be able to out your own spell. And like if you guys saw Pack's video, he was saying how they will just use Lullaby, grab a hand trap, their opponent would try and out their own Summon Limit, and then they can't because they just get ashed. Or they would let them out the Summon Limit and then they would punish them with hand traps afterwards. I thought that was actually a really, really good counter, and because I know people are going to be on Lullaby, I'd rather play Strike because it just gets rid of a resource. There's no kind of potentially getting punished by my own hand traps. But yeah, this card is good. I sided it in almost every matchup going first. But yeah, so the deck was really good. I do like Pure Snake Eye. I think the thing about Fire King is I do think Fire King is a stronger deck, but I think the non-engine I can play in this deck is really good. And I think the other thing that's nice about this deck is that my extra deck feels very just able to abuse stuff that Pure Fire King can't. Like, I do think the Exceed card is just unfair, and it's harder to play that in Fire King. I do like the fact that in this extra deck there's other little texts as well. I'm not even playing the Synchros. I think Jet Synchron is a very, very good card, and I might play that in this deck. But I don't think the Synchros are that good because in my experience, most of the time, if I'm using the synchro on my turn to play around hand traps, I could have just probably played around the hand traps anyway. Like if you open, the only hand that doesn't play around hand traps in this deck usually is just one Ash. But every other kind of combination of hand is playing through some sort of hand traps anyway. So when you try and climb into a synchro first, it's like by the time you got to the synchro, you already played around the hand trap, otherwise you wouldn't have got to the synchro. And then on my opponent's turn, I just don't think 1 or 2 Omnis is enough. Genuinely, like, it's just not enough. Like if I was playing pure Snake Eyes and I played my opponent who had 2 Omni negates and I still cracked his board because it's just not enough. You have so many extenders and so many hand traps. So I'd rather just play as many kind of efficient cards that just link spam as possible. But yeah, the deck is really good. So thank you all for watching. Hopefully I'll do good at UK Open. So I don't know. I probably will play pure Snake Eye, but if that changes, I'll let you guys know. And I'll have a new Road to Victory out soon as well, so you guys can see how my progress on DB and stuff is going. But yeah, talk to you guys all soon. Peace.